Mulan lived in ancient China with her parents. She was their only child. Her only companion was her dog called Little Brother. Mulan's father used to be a great warrior, but he had hurt his leg in a war and couldn't fight anymore. One day, a messenger came from the emperor. The Huns, China's army, had attacked, and at least one man from each army had been ordered to join the emperor's imperial army. This was terrible news for Mulan and her family, as it meant that her father would have to go back to war. That night, when her parents had slept, Mulan had an idea. She took her father's sword and cut her hair off. Then she put on his warrior's uniform, and she looked just like a man. She took Little Brother and made her way to the Imperial Army's campsite. There she met Captain Li Shang.
What is your name?
Ping, sir.
Very well then. Time to begin your training.
Mulan was delighted that everybody had accepted her as a man and started her training. Sadly, she lagged behind all the other warriors.
You are not fit to be in my army. You are slowing everyone down. Go back to your village.
Returning to her village would have brought great shame to her family, so Mulan came up with another plan. She wrote a fake letter to the army saying that the Huns have attacked. Reading the letter, Li Shang ordered his army.
Onward with me. March to the mountains. We shall defeat the Huns forever.
As the army was crossing the pass that led to the mountains, they found themselves surrounded by thousands of Huns.
We've been cheated. The Huns were supposed to be in the mountains.
Soon the entire imperial army was under attack. Mulan had another idea. She took the last cannon and lit it. There was a huge blast which destroyed most of the Huns, but it injured Mulan too. She was rushed to the doctor's tent.
Bring Ping to this bed. I will take care of him.
But there was a surprise waiting for the doctor.
Oh my God! Ping is a woman. Get me Captain Li Shang immediately.
The doctor told the captain what she'd found. Few days later, when the army started moving, Shang spoke to Mulan.
You have cheated me. But you also saved the army in the passes. Hence, your punishment is that you can no longer be a part of the army. You will not come with us.
Mulan was very upset and heartbroken. She needed to do something to save her family's honor. That's when she heard the Huns' voices. Oh no! The Huns are still alive! I must warn the captain! And so Mulan raced to Imperial City to warn Shang. They are alive! We must prepare for another attack from the Huns!
I cannot trust you anymore. You have cheated me before. You are not welcome here. Leave.
Mulan tried to inform the other leaders, but no one would listen to her. Meanwhile, the Hun leader, Shan Yu, attacked the city. And kidnapped the emperor. Li Shang and Mulan freed the emperor. Mulan then enticed Shan Yu to follow her to the rooftop. There she tricked him and grabbed his sword and pinned his coat to the roof. As the two armies collided, there was a huge explosion and the roof was destroyed, taking with it Shan Yu. Mulan fell to the ground. When she sat up, she saw that the Imperial army had won, and the Huns had been banished from the city forever. The Emperor was very happy with Mulan's bravery and gifted her a sword as a token of appreciation. Mulan went home and presented the sword to her father, who was very happy with the honor that his daughter had brought to the family. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. It was Captain Li Shang. He'd come to return Mulan her helmet that she had forgotten. Mulan invited him to stay for dinner, and he graciously accepted. So you see, Tofu, girls can do anything they put their heart to. Tofu? Tofu, are you listening to me?
Yes, Tia, I am. I am just thinking how wrong I was to think that girls can't fight.
Well, now you know. So better be careful before you pick a fight with a girl next time.
Yay, we won! But why does Ron keep passing the ball to others? He's the best player on the team. He could make more goals if he just takes the ball all the way by himself.
No, Tofu. To win, you always need a team. every player is equally important on the team. Come, I will tell you a story about the importance of teamwork. Once upon a time, a girl called Dorothy lived in Kansas City. She was playing with her best friend, a dog named Toto, when a scary cyclone came their way. Dorothy called out to Toto,
Toto, hurry! We have to get to the basement.
but before they could reach the basement, the cyclone lifted their house up and blew it away. After some time, it fell somewhere with a thud. When Dorothy stepped out of the house, she saw the house had landed on someone.
Oh no! Toto, help me! Who is she? The house has landed on her. I'm so sorry.
Just then, Dorothy and Toto heard people behind them rejoicing. They were the Munchkins.
Thank you, thank you. You have just saved us from the evil witch of the East. You have saved us all.
Just then, another witch appeared. She was the Good Witch. Hello, Dorothy. You have done a great deed by saving all the Munchkins. Let me know if you need anything.
Thank you. Could you please tell me how to go back to Kansas City? That's where I used to live.
I can't do that, but I think the Wizard of Oz can help you with that. Just follow the yellow brick road. It will lead you straight to him. But before you go, take these red slippers that the evil witch of the East had. You might need them. Dorothy thanked the Good Witch, took the slippers, and made her way on the yellow brick road with Toto. She had only walked a bit when she came across a scarecrow.
Hello, I am the Scarecrow. I have everything I want except a brain. My head is only filled with hay.
Hello, Scarecrow. I am going to the Wizard of Oz. Why don't you come with me? He might be able to help you.
And so Dorothy was joined by the Scarecrow. They had walked a few miles when they met the Tin Woodcutter.
I want a heart. When my maker made me, he gave me everything, but forgot to give me a heart. I wish he hadn't forgotten that. We are going to the Wizard of Oz. We are going to ask him for a way for Dorothy to get back to her home and for brains for me. Why don't you come with us?
And so the Tin Woodcutter also joined them. They had walked for some time when they heard Toto barking. They turned around to see that a lion had attacked Toto.
Get away from my dog, you nasty lion!
The lion whimpered and ran away to a corner.
Oh no! You aren't a brave lion at all, are you?
No, I have no courage. I wish I had some. We are going to the Wizard of Oz. We will ask him for a brain for the Scarecrow, a way for Dorothy to get back home, and a heart for me. Come with us. We will ask him for courage for you.
The lion agreed, and they all continued on the yellow brick road. They kept following the road and reached the Emerald City. They knocked on its big gates. A guard appeared. The wizard doesn't meet anyone, but he has agreed to meet all of you. And so all the friends went to meet the wizard. They told him how and why they had come to meet him.
Thank you, Dorothy, for freeing the lands from the evil witch of the East. But I will grant all your wishes when you free us from the evil witch of the West too.
The friends agreed to the wizard's terms and left to find the evil witch of the West. But the evil witch of the West had heard about what had happened to the evil witch of the East. She also knew about Dorothy and her friends' plan to kill her. She planned an attack on them. She sent a pack of her scariest wolves to stop them. The Tin Woodcutter stepped forward.
This is a job for me. Everyone, stay back.
The woodcutter hacked at the wolves with his axe till they all ran away. The wolves had just left when the skies became dark, and many crows started coming down to peck at them all. This time, the Scarecrow stepped forward and scared all the crows away. Next, the evil witch sent flying monkeys. Before anyone could do anything, the monkeys grabbed them all and took them to the evil witch's castle. So, you've come to kill me, huh? How will you do that? The woodcutter is lying in a pile over the stones. I have emptied the Scarecrow and strapped the cowardly lion to pull my cogs.
Oh, you are so evil! What a horrible person you are!
Saying so, Dorothy grabbed the bucket of water that was lying there and threw the water at the witch. Oh no! You threw water over me? I am going to shrink and melt! Help me! I'm melting! Oh my God! I'm melting! Help me! And so the evil witch of the West melted away. As that happened, all her slaves became free. They repaired the woodcutter, filled the Scarecrow with hay, and released the lion. Dorothy and her friends went back to the Emerald City. The Wizard of Oz welcomed them and granted the wishes of the Scarecrow, the Woodcutter, and the Lion.
What about my wish? How will I get back home?
You don't need me for that. You had the power all along. Just click your heels together thrice and tell the slippers where you want to go. They will take you there.
Though Dorothy was excited to go home, she was sad to leave her friends. She said a tearful goodbye to them. Then she picked up Toto in her arms and clicked her heels together 3 times and told her slippers to take her home. So you see, Tofu, if all the friends hadn't worked together, they would have not been able to defeat the evil witch of the West.
Yes, Tia. I now understand the importance of a team. Lucky cat! If the other boys hadn't come, she would have lost the fight. She should have just run away instead of fighting with such a big dog. She was bound to lose against a dog.
I don't think so, Tofu.
Dogs are more powerful than cats, Tia.
Maybe so. But when you have courage and fight with intelligence, you can win against anyone. The Jungle Book. Once in the heart of a thick jungle lived a little boy called Mowgli. He did not belong to the jungle, as he was a human child. Yet, he grew up with a family of wolves. His mother, Raksha, cared for him as she cared for her other pups.
Careful, Mowgli, or you'll fall off the ridge.
No, Ma, I won't. See you later. And so Mowgli took off into the jungle to find his friend and teacher, Bagheera. When Mowgli had been a small baby, no more than a year old, he had been found and saved from the forest fire by Bagheera. Of course, nobody knew who Mowgli was, but they always believed he came from the man village at the outskirts of the jungle. Bagheera had handed over Mowgli to the wolves so that he could have a family to grow up with. Since then, Mowgli had learnt the ways of the jungle from his family and his friends Bagheera and Balu. He ran like them, hunted like them, climbed trees like them, and also spoke like them. Hello, Bagheera. What are you going to teach me today?
I won't be teaching you today. Today Balu has something planned for you.
Let's go fishing in the river.
Hello, Balu. Let me get a stick to make a spear for fishing.
You don't need a spear to fish.
But it makes it easier.
You can't do it like that, Mowgli. That is not our way.
Then how is it that I know how to make a spear, Balu? Who taught me that? As usual, Bagheera and Balu did not have an answer to Mowgli's questions. The forest fire had started and destroyed the man village. And nobody lived there for a long time. Bagheera had tried many times to find someone to return the child to. But no one was there. When the village settled again, the men put sharp barbed wire fences and laid traps to keep the animals at bay. Although the animals couldn't understand why, all the creatures of the jungle had always maintained a safe distance from the humans. They never meant any harm to them. In any case, the fences and traps made it impossible for Bagheera to return the child back to the human world.
Okay, we will do it without a spear. Let's go.
The trio set off to the river bank, where Balu showed Mowgli how to catch fish without a spear. Balu would swiftly duck his head into the water and come out with fish in his mouth. Mowgli gave it several tries. Before he was successful. The day passed in the lesson and they decided to head back to the wolf pack. They had almost reached home when Bagheera alerted the other two. There was someone in the bushes ahead in the far right. Soon the others could see a pair of fierce eyes with a scar that ran across the left one, emerging from the bushes. Then the whole figure stepped ahead.
Run, Mowgli, run!
Immediately, Balu and Mowgli took off towards home, leaving Bagheera to fight the large, villainous tiger, Sher Khan. Bagheera and Sher Khan immediately leapt at each other. Sher Khan hadn't expected Bagheera to be so strong and was taken by surprise when he managed to throw Sher Khan against a large tree. The elders of Wolfpack soon joined them. Sher Khan knew he was injured and outnumbered.
You might have saved him today, but the human belongs to me. I will come back for him.
Sher Khan, what are you doing here? This is not your territory.
No territory can keep me out. And the next time I come, I will not spare anyone who stands in my way.
The jungle knew that Sher Khan's threats were not to be taken lightly, and soon worry spread in the wolf pack regarding Mowgli's stay and the pack's future.
I can defend myself. I will not let any harm come to my family and friends. I know a way to put an end to this.
Mowgli gathered Bagheera and Balu.
I know how I came to the jungle. I have seen Sher Khan's eyes only one time before in my life. He attacked our village when I was small. To scare him, the elders used to fire. But he took me and escaped, and the whole village caught fire. When my father followed him to save me, he killed my father.
That is why the villagers have put traps and fences now.
Yes, but now we will stop Sher Khan forever. We know where he sleeps in the day, at the foot of the small mountain on the other side of the river. The bulls feed on the grassy slopes of that mountain. If we can scare them to run down the mountain, Sher Khan won't stand a chance.
That is a good plan, Mowgli.
The trio assured the others that they had found a way out of their troubles, and by tomorrow night, all will be fine. Early next morning, the three set off for the mountain. They went around it and climbed it from the other side so that no one could see them coming. Once on top of it, they could see the bulls eating the grass.
Ah!
The three leapt at the quiet bulls and rushed towards them, screaming so loudly that the bulls got scared and started running down the hill to escape from them. The plan was working. The whole mountainside shook and rumbled under the stamping of the bulls. This woke up Sher Khan. He saw the bulls rushing towards him. There were scores of them. Scared, he started running away from them.
He is trying to get away. I won't let him.
Mowgli took the tress and swung himself from branches of one tree to another. On the other side, Sher Khan couldn't keep ahead of the bulls. Their sharp horns poked him, and he got trampled under their feet. One would have died, but Sher Khan wasn't an ordinary tiger. He was evil, and trickery was his second nature. He latched onto the horns of one bull and tugged at him. Agitated, the bull threw him aside and over the side of the plateau. Sher Khan held to the edges of the plateau and started climbing up. He had almost made it when a small tree trunk hit him in the face. He lost his grip and fell to his death. It was Mowgli. He had reached the spot and found a small tree uprooted by the bull stampede. With his quick thinking, he had thrown Sher Khan to his end. He had saved himself and protected the entire jungle from the tyranny of this villain. Bagheera, Balu, and Mowgli returned to the wolf pack, where everyone rejoiced on hearing what had happened. So you see, Tofu, to win, you don't always have to be the strongest. If you have courage and think intelligently, you can win against anyone.
Yes, Tia. Now I understand what you meant.
Shall we go down and play with our friends now?
Yes, let's go.
Did you have a good birthday, Tofu?
Yes, very much.
And look at all the lovely gifts you've got.
Yes.
Why? What's wrong?
Nothing is wrong, but I just thought Grandmom could have got me a better gift than the single rose flower.
Tofu, that's not a nice thing to say. You didn't notice her love for you that made her fly all the way across the country to be with you today.
Love? But that's not a gift.
Maybe you'll think differently once you hear the story of the Snow Queen. The Snow Queen. Once upon a time, in a small village lived two neighbors who were best friends too. Their names were Gerda and Kay. They loved each other a lot. As a symbol of their friendship and love, one day they both planted a rose plant each in their front yards. Every morning, they would get together and water their plants and take care of them. When winters came, Gerda invited Kay.
Why don't you come over in the afternoon? My grandma has promised to make us a cup of hot chocolate and tell us a story.
Okay, Gerda, I will come over after finishing my chores.
As promised, Kay went to Gerda's home in the afternoon.
Tell us the story of the Snow Queen, Grandmama.
Bah, there is no Snow Queen. Do you still believe in such stories? Little did Kay know that the Snow Queen did exist. And she had a magic mirror with which she could look at anybody. And right at that moment, she was looking into Gerda's living room where they sat. Doesn't believe in me, does he? I will send him my ice arrows that will turn him cold. All the love will be gone from his eyes and his heart will freeze over. And the Snow Queen sent her ice arrows towards Kay. As soon as they entered Gerda's home, they went straight for Kay's eyes and heart.
Ouch! My eyes! What's happening? They hurt!
What is wrong, Kay?
Ouch! My heart! It hurts too!
Kay, what's wrong? Are you okay? Suddenly, Kay's whole behavior changed towards Gerda.
Oh, stop being such a wimp, Gerda. Nothing is wrong. Get away from me.
Saying so, he shoved Gerda aside and went home. Over the next few days, he would give cold, mean looks to Gerda and would never talk to her nicely. He wouldn't even come to tend to the roses that they had planted. One morning, when Gerda was watering the plants, she saw Kay get into a carriage with a lady who was wearing a white gown. She had skin like diamonds and her hair was silver white. Gerda immediately knew that it was the Snow Queen. She decided to follow her, but the carriage just vanished into thin air. So she went to her grandmama.
Here, take this hand mirror and follow what it tells you. The mirror only tells you the truth.
Gerda took the mirror from her grandma and looked into it. The mirror told her to find the flower garden. So Gerda went looking for it. Meanwhile, once the Snow Queen reached the palace, she told Kay to make it his home from now on.
This is your home now. You will never leave here. And once your heart freezes over, you will be mine forever.
Back in the village, Gerda found the flower garden and entered it. The garden was full of the most beautiful flowers Gerda had ever seen. She fell in love with them immediately. But there was no smell of the flowers. Surprised, Gerda bent down and touched one of the flowers to understand if they were real. As soon as she touched one flower, the fragrances of all flowers returned and the flower lady appeared in front of her.
Thank you. You have returned the fragrance of my flowers. Who are you? I am the owner of this garden. I am the flower lady. Can you help me? Have you seen my friend Kay pass through here? He has been taken by the Snow Queen. Oh no, the Snow Queen. She is one who had taken away the fragrance of my flowers. I did not see Kay cross from here, but you should try the river outside the village.
Gerda thanked the flower lady and went to the river. There she saw a boat waiting for her. She climbed into the boat and it took her to the pirate ship. Aboard the ship, Gerda saw many pirates, including a girl pirate.
Hello, can you help me? I am looking for my friend Kay. The Snow Queen has taken him.
I don't know any Kay. And even if I did, I wouldn't tell you, because once aboard the pirate ship, you can't go anywhere. You have to be here.
No, please, you have to let me go. Kay is my friend. I have to save him.
Friend, you say? Well, I have never had a friend. Okay, I will help you if you promise to be my friend.
Yes, of course. I would love to be your friend.
Okay then. Take my reindeer. He is the fastest reindeer in the world, and she knows where the Snow Queen's palace is.
Gerda thanked the pirate girl and climbed on the back of the reindeer. Just as the pirate girl had promised, The reindeer had Gerda outside the Snow Queen's palace in no time. Gerda got off the reindeer and went inside the palace.
Kay? Kay? Are you in here? What are you doing here?
I am here to take my friend back with me.
Your friend doesn't exist anymore. Look at him, standing there in the corner. Just in a few minutes, his heart will freeze over, and then he will be mine forever.
Gerda turned to see where the Snow Queen had pointed. In the corner stood Kay. His lips were blue and eyes were steely cold. Gerda rushed to him.
Kay, it's me, your friend.
When Kay didn't reply, she reached out for his hand. His old friend's touch returned the color in Kay's eyes. Encouraged by this change, Gerda pushed on.
Remember all the times we had fun at home? And our roses that we have in the front yard.
There is no point in all this. His heart will freeze soon.
Hearing this, Gerda broke down and started crying. As she was crying, her tears rolled down from her eyes and onto the hands of Kay. As soon as that happened, Kay looked up at Gerda and smiled.
Gerda, my friend, you came for me.
This is impossible. Nothing can ever turn my curse over.
She tried to pull Gerda away from Kay. And that's when Grandma's mirror fell out of Gerda's pocket. When the Queen looked into it, it spoke to her.
Snow Queen, you have been mistaken. There is one power stronger than your curse, and it is the power of love.
Hearing this truth, the Snow Queen started crying and soon dissolved in a pool of her own tears.
Oh, now I feel so terrible, dear. I think I have not been fair to Grandmom.
Well, you still have time to make things better, Tofu.
Yeah, you are right, dear. I will go to her and apologize right away.
Don't forget to give her a kiss and a big hug. Hey, Tofu. Do you want to come with me? I just saw my piggy bank has enough money to buy new books and toys for the children at the orphanage. You can help me buy and distribute the goodies.
You are going to give away all your savings to other children? How can you do that? Don't you want to buy something for yourself?
Tofu, we can't always think of ourselves. Sometimes we have to help those who do not have the same means as us. Let me tell you a story of kindness. This is a story from a long time ago in Nottingham, England, when Prince Richard ruled the country. His younger brother, Prince John, was a wicked prince who took care of the state while the king was away for wars. Prince John was unkind to common people of Nottingham and had no consideration for the poor. Under his charge, the rich became richer while the poor became poorer. The poor had no savior to save them other than Robinhood, or the hooded thief as he was popularly known. Robinhood had a trusted companion called Little John. Robin Hood would rob the rich merchants and the princess caravans that carried the huge taxes collected from the poor as they crossed the Sherwood Forest, which was the home of Robin Hood, on the way to the prince's treasury. And he would distribute the loot amongst the poor. His generosity earned him the name Prince of Thieves amongst the common people, and also many rewards that were announced by the sheriff for his capture. But this did not stop Robin from doing his good deeds. One day, when Robin Hood and his friends had robbed the prince's caravan again, the prince called the sheriff of Nottingham to the palace. "This is the last time Robin Hood has humiliated my men and me, Sheriff. What are your troops doing? Why haven't they caught that thief as yet?" "We are doing everything, Your Highness. I assure you, we will have him soon." "You should, otherwise someone else will be punished." The sheriff made a new plan with his men. He decided to announce an archery competition to be held in Nottingham, and the winner would be announced as the best archer in Nottingham and also win a kiss from the maiden Marian. One day, Robin Hood's friend Tuck came to visit him.
Have you heard of the archery competition that the sheriff has announced for tomorrow? Yes, we have, Friar. And the men and I think Robin shouldn't go to it. It is a trap laid by the sheriff. All of England knows that Robin Hood is the best archer by far. Robin doesn't need to go and prove anything there.
You worry too much, Little John. Lighten up. We will go and have some fun tomorrow. And to ensure that no one recognizes us, we'll wear disguises.
And so the next day, Robin Hood and his friends wore disguises and went to the competition. Just as Robin Hood had predicted, no one was able to recognize him. Soon it was Robin Hood's turn to shoot the arrows. He took the first shot at the bird and hit bullseye. The crowd cheered for this unknown archer. Then he took another arrow and shot it again. This one too hit bullseye. The crowd cheered louder. The cheering caught the sheriff's attention, and he turned to see what the matter was. By now, Robin had drawn his third arrow and took a shot. It too hit the bull's eye. When the fourth arrow also did the same, the sheriff realized something.
That is no stranger. That is Robin Hood. No one can shoot 4 arrows in a row like that. Grab him, men!
The whole crowd broke into a frenzy as the sheriff's men arrested Robin Hood.
Off with his head!
But Little John moved like a lightning flash and grabbed the prince and put a knife to his throat.
Release him immediately!
The sheriff's men had no choice except to let go of Robin Hood. The Prince of Thieves and his friends hollered and made their way out of the archery field, but not before Robin Hood climbed the audience tower and stole a kiss from the maiden Marian. Back at the Sherwood Forest, Robin Hood and his friends got together and celebrated.
You were right, Robin Hood. Today was a lot of fun. The sheriff had this coming. I am sure you surprised Maiden Marian too. Well, not as surprised as the prince is going to be when he finds out that we stole 4 bags of gold from his treasury during the sheriff's archery competition. Everybody laughed heartily.
Wow, Tia, this is such an inspirational story about being selfless and helping the helpless. I am going to change my ways from now onwards.
I am so proud of you, Tofu. That is such a great decision. Keep doing good deeds.
The boys in my class are very mean to me. They are so tall and big that I always have to listen to whatever they say. I am afraid to disagree with them.
Size has nothing to do with courage, Tofu. You don't have to be afraid just because you're short. Have you heard the story of Peter Pan? Peter Pan. Once upon a time, in London, the Darlings went out to a dinner party, leaving their 3 children, Wendy, John, and Michael, at home. After Wendy had tucked her younger brothers, John and Michael, to bed, she went to read a book. She heard a boy sobbing outside her window. He was flying. there was a little fairy fluttering around him. Wendy opened the window to talk to him.
Hello, who are you? Why are you crying?
My name is Peter Pan. My shadow wouldn't stick to me.
Don't worry. Come inside.
Peter agreed. Wendy took his shadow and sewed it to his shoe tips. Now his shadow followed him wherever Peter Pan went. He was delighted. Thank you so much. Why don't you come with me to my home? The Neverland. I live there with my fairy Tinkerbell.
Oh, what a wonderful idea. Let me wake up John and Michael too. Could you teach us how to fly?
Yes, of course. Get them. We will all fly together. And so it was. 5 little figures flew out of the window of the Darlings and headed towards Neverland. As they flew over the island, Peter Pan told the children more about his homeland. That island is Neverland. All the children who get lost come and stay with Tinkerbell and me. The Indians also live in Neverland. The mermaids live in the lagoon around the island. And a very mean pirate called Captain Hook keeps troubling everyone.
Captain Hook?
Yes, a crocodile bit off his one arm. So the captain had to put a hook in its place. Since then, he's afraid of crocodiles. And rightly so. If the crocodile ever found Captain Hook, it will eat up the rest of what it couldn't eat the last time. Soon they landed on the island. And to the surprise of Wendy, John, and Michael, Peter Pan let them in through a small opening in a tree. Inside the tree was a large room with children inside it. Some were huddled by the fire in a corner, and some were playing amongst themselves. Their faces lit up when they saw Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and their guests. Hello, everyone. This is Wendy, John, and Michael. They will be staying with us from now on.
Hello, Wendy, John, and Michael.
A few days passed, and they settled into a routine. Wendy would take care of all the children in the day and would go out with Peter Pan and her brothers in the evening to learn more about the island. She would cook for them and stitch new clothes for them. She even made a lovely new dress for Tinkerbell. One evening, as they were out exploring the island, Peter Pan warned everyone and said, "Hide, hide! Pirates! And they've kidnapped the Indian princess, Tiger Lily. They've kept her there, tied up by the rocks near the water." Peter was afraid, and the princess would drown if she fell into the water. So, in a voice that sounded like Captain Hook, he shouted instructions to the pirates who guarded her.
You fools! Let her go at once! Do it before I come there, or else I will throw each one of you into the water.
The pirates got scared and immediately released the princess. She quickly dived into the water and swam to safety of her home.
Soon everyone found out how Peter Pan had rescued the princess.
When Captain Hook found out how Peter Pan had tricked his men, he was furious and swore to have his revenge. That night, Wendy told Peter Pan that she and her brothers wanted to go back home since they missed their parents. She said if the lost children could also return to her world, they could find nice homes for them. Peter Pan didn't want to leave Neverland. But for the sake of the lost children, he agreed, although a bit sadly. He would miss his friends dearly. The next morning, all the lost children left with Wendy, John, and Michael. But on the way, Captain Hook and his men kidnapped all of them. He tied them and kept them on one of his ships. As soon as Peter found out about it, he rushed to the ship. He swung himself from a tree's branch and onto the deck of the ship where all the children were tied up. He swung his sword bravely and threw over the pirates who tried to stop him. Quickly, he released everyone from the captor's ties. Wendy, John, Michael, and Tinkerbell helped all the children into the water, where their friends from the Indian camp were ready with smaller boats to take them to safety. Peter Pan now went looking for Captain Hook.
Let us finish this forever, Hook. Yes, Peter Pan, you have caused me enough trouble. It is time that we finish this.
With his sword drawn, he raced towards Peter Pan. Quick on his feet, Peter Pan stepped aside and pushed Hook into the sea, where the crocodile was waiting to eat the rest of Hook. Everyone rejoiced as Captain Hook was out of their lives forever. Everybody headed back to London. Mr. and Mrs. Darling were so happy to see their children, and they agreed to adopt the lost children. They even asked Peter Pan to come and live with them. But Peter Pan said he never wanted to grow up, so he and Tinkerbell will go back to Neverland.
Do visit us sometime, Peter Pan.
I will, Wendy. Promise. And he flew out of the window with Tinkerbell by his side.
Thank you, Tia. I feel much better. The next time the boys are mean to me, I will find a nice way out.
Very good, Tofu. Now come, I can see Mom's car right there.
Tia and Tofu are going on a school trip while traveling in the bus.
I am so excited, Tia. This is my first school camp. It'll be so much fun.
Tofu, I know you are excited, but you should remember what parents told us. We have to be safe and careful throughout.
Tia, I am a big boy, and this is my first adventure. I'll be cautious throughout, I promise. I am so happy we are going together. La 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 la.
It's a camp, Tofu, so I don't want you wandering around alone at all. We'll have lots of fun, but we'll stick together and be like a team. Like Batman and Robin, like Hansel and Gretel.
Hansel and Gretel? I haven't seen that movie.
It's not a movie, little one. It's a story of two siblings, just like us. I think this is the best time for me to tell you this story. So, sit tight. Hansel and Gretel. Once, a poor woodcutter had a son and a daughter named Hansel and Gretel. One day, they get an evil stepmother. One night, the stepmother tells the woodcutter,
The kids eat too much. We'll be starving soon. So let's leave the children in the forest and get rid of them.
What are you saying? No!
But the wife was very persistent, and she kept talking until he was convinced. Hansel overhears their conversation. So that night, Hansel goes out and collects shiny white stones.
We'll find our way back home. Stop crying, Gretel. Hansel, tomorrow we are going to die. What do we do? Don't worry, we will survive. Good night, Gretel.
Hansel hides the stones and sleeps. The next morning, the stepmother takes the kids to the forest. Hansel keeps dropping stones on the ground, thinking, we can follow these stones home.
Children, wait by this big tree. Just sit quietly here, and I'll be back to get you.
But she never comes back to get them.
Let's wait for nightfall, Gretel. I dropped a trail of white stones all the way here. So, with the moonlight shining on them, we could get back home. I am so scared.
So at night, Hansel and Gretel follow the shiny stones out of the forest. The stepmother was secretly angry. A few days later, the stepmother again tricks the children.
Let's go have a picnic in the forest. Here, take this bread to eat later. We'll go in the morning.
This time, the stepmother locked their room at night, and so Hansel couldn't pick up any shiny stones. Next morning, on their way to the forest, Hansel crumbled his bread and left a trail of crumbs instead. Deep in the forest.
This looks like a good spot. You both can take a nap here while I go and cut some wood.
Hansel and Gretel knew she wouldn't come back again. They slept. And waited for nightfall again. When they woke up, the birds and wild animals had eaten up all the crumbs.
Now we will never find our way home. I am so upset for us, Gretel. Hansel, don't lose hope. Let's walk and maybe we find our home.
After walking the entire day, they find a small house.
Look there! A cookie house! Wow! Oh, the house is made of chocolate with a roof of cake and sugar windows. Come, come!
The hungry children didn't even stop to think.
I want a big piece of the cake roof. Yum!
Suddenly, they hear a voice.
Children, come inside. You seem hungry. I'll make you yummy food right now.
The lady was an evil witch. The kids go in the house with her.
It's a trap. I like to eat kids. I made this house to lure you in. Now I'll fatten the boy up and make a tasty treat for myself.
Her eyes were red. She had terrible eyesight, but a good sense of smell. She locks Hansel in a cellar. She makes Gretel do all the housework, all the chores. Hansel and Gretel cried and begged, but she had no mercy on them.
Come on, girl. Cook something delicious for your brother. He should be fat enough to be cooked by the end of this month.
A week passed. Hansel ate delicious food, while Gretel was always hungry. Every morning, the old witch went to Hansel's cellar and shouted,
Show me your fingers, boy. Let me check how much fatter you've gotten.
but Hansel would always stick out a little bone for her to feel, because the witch couldn't see very well. She was furious that Hansel was staying so thin. One day, she lost her patience and shouted at Gretel,
I don't care anymore. I'll cook thin Hansel today and eat him anyhow. And start the oven.
Gretel had no choice, and she started doing what the evil witch told her.
Now get in and see if the water is boiling enough.
How can I get inside the oven? Please show me so that I can check the water.
Stupid girl. What is wrong with you? It's so easy. Look, you just need to step here and...
Gretel cleverly pushed the old woman in the oven and shut the door. The vicious witch burned to a crisp. Gretel rushed to the cellar and set Hansel free.
Hansel, my dear brother, the witch is dead. Now let's run out of here and find our home.
How happy they were! While running out of the house, they saw wooden chests all over in the witch's room. They were filled with gems and gold. The children filled their pockets with as many gems as possible and left the house. Hansel and Gretel walked for a few hours when they got to a bridge that they knew well and was close to their house.
Look! Father! Father!
Hansel and Gretel could finally see their father at the porch, looking miserable because his wife had died.
My dearest children, I'm so happy you both are alive. I am sorry for letting you go.
The three hugged, and precious gems started to fall out of Gretel's pockets. Both the children emptied their pockets in their father's lap. They told their father about the evil witch and how they got her treasure.
Oh my God, I am happy my kids came back safe. I will never leave you alone now.
Finally, they could have a carefree life and lived together, happily ever after.
Ooh, witches are scary. We are about to reach the forest camp very soon. Don't leave my hand when we go hiking in the forest. I want us to be like Hansel and Gretel. I promise not to go anywhere alone. Does this forest have a cookie house or a witch, Tia?
Tofu, it's just a story. Hansel and Gretel shared an adventure like a team. Don't worry about any witch. It's just a camp. I hope we find a cookie house like Hansel and Gretel.
Cookie house, yum! That sounds wow! I am hungry now. Give me the chocolates from the bag, Tia, please.
What happened? Why can't you sleep?
I don't know. Can you please put me off to sleep by telling me a story?
Sure, Tofu. I'll tell you one of my favorite story. The Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood lived in a hut near a forest with her mother. She always wore a beautiful red hood while going out. One day, she went to see her grandmother. On her way, she met a wolf.
Hello, where are you going?
I am going to see my granny. She lives behind that hill.
The wolf got a wicked idea. The wolf ran to Granny's house and ate her up and got into Granny's bed. After some time, Little Red Riding Hood reached the house. She saw the wolf lying in her granny's bed.
Oh, Granny, what big eyes you have!
So that I can see you better.
Granny, what big ears you have!
So that I can hear you better.
Granny, what a big nose you have!
So that I can smell you better.
Oh, Granny, what big teeth you have!
So that I can eat you better.
Oh my God! Help me! Help me!
Nearby, a woodcutter was in the forest and he heard the scream. He ran to the house just to see the wolf attacking the little girl. He hit the wolf over the head, and this made the wolf open his mouth and shout. The granny jumped out. The wolf ran away, and the Little Red Riding Hood never saw the wolf again. So Tofu, Little Red Riding Hood, was able to save herself and her old grandmother too.
just don't feel like studying. Let's go out and play.
Tofu, exams are just round the corner. Don't you think we should prepare for them first and then play?
But dear, they are still 2 months away. We can enjoy now and study later.
What if we are not able to study then? Because of some uncertain circumstances?
Why? What would happen then?
You never know what tomorrow has in store for you, Tofu. So one should always be prepared for future. Wait, I have a little story to tell you, and this would cheer you up too. The Ant and the Grasshopper. Ha 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 ha. Why are you working so hard? The Almighty has provided us with food on every tree out here. Why work so much? Just eat and relax and have fun like the way I am doing. Stop working like those dumb ants. Come on, let's play together and feast on the food.
Mr. Grasshopper, the food that you're enjoying today will not last for long. Please realize that.
Well, where is so much food gonna go? Sure, it's gonna be here forever.
Once the winters arrive, you will know how difficult it would get to gather food. So save today so that you don't starve in winters.
Oh, winters have long time to come. Till then, let's all play and dance and feast on food. I feel hungry and helpless and tired.
I haven't eaten anything in days.
Did the grasshopper die of hunger? Oh my God, he should have listened to the queen ant. Come on, Tia, tell me what happened next.
Feeling better?
Yes, I am. Thanks for all the help, and I think I have a lesson to learn now. Had I listened to you back then, I wouldn't be so miserably homeless and hungry now.
The grasshopper learned a lesson the hard way. Yes, Tofu, but do you know what lesson he learned? Yes. Work today and you can reap the benefits tomorrow. You are intelligent, Tofu. Now let's study today and reap benefits of our hard work tomorrow.
You know, my friend John stays with his cousins. Yesterday, he came late to the class and the teacher scolded him a lot. John said his cousin brothers made him finish their course before they let him leave for school. He said they always trouble him and make him do a lot of housework.
Oh no, he must feel really bad.
John is a very nice boy. He doesn't disobey anyone. He's very nice to his cousin brothers despite the way they treat him.
That is very nice of him. We should always forgive people for their mistakes. Have you heard the story of Cinderella? Once upon a time, there lived a young girl called Cinderella. Cinderella's mother had died, and so her father had married another woman who had 2 daughters. One day, Cinderella's father went to work and never returned. Cinderella was left at the mercy of her stepmother and 2 stepsisters who made her do all the work of the house. Cinderella, it's morning already. Where is our breakfast?
Just a moment, stepmother. I am just bringing it out.
As soon as Cinderella had laid the breakfast, the stepmother and stepsister started eating it. Cinderella served her own plate too and was about to eat when her stepsister pushed her own plate away. Yuck! I hate it!
Yes, now that you mention it, it really is horrible. Mother, do something.
Cinderella, are you trying to kill us? What kind of food is this?
But stepmother, I have made it the way I always make it.
How dare you argue with me? Go and make new breakfast for us. Don't you dare do anything else till we have had our breakfast. And this is what went on in their house every day. The stepmother and stepsisters troubled Cinderella without any reason. But Cinderella loved them still and never ever complained. One day, an announcement was made in the village.
Let everybody know. There will be a royal ball at the palace tomorrow night, and the king's son, Prince Charming, will marry a maiden from amongst the guests. Everybody from the village is invited.
The whole village was excited. Even Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters couldn't stop talking about it in the house. And that is how Cinderella found out about the ball.
The royal ball! Prince Charming! The whole village is invited. I will finish my work quickly so we can all go together. Won't it be just wonderful?
You! Who said anything about you going? You will stay here and polish our shoes till you can see your face in them.
And so, with a heavy heart, Cinderella saw her stepmother and stepsisters dress up and leave for the royal ball the next day. Once they had left, she cried bitterly. Suddenly, her room lit up, and Cinderella saw the most beautiful fairy she could imagine. She held in her hand a delicate wand.
Who are you?
Get up, child. I am your fairy godmother. I am here to get you to the royal ball.
Really? I never knew I had a fairy godmother. But how will I get to the ball? I don't have anything to wear.
You don't worry about that, my child. And so, in just a few minutes, Cinderella was ready for the royal ball. As she thanked her fairy godmother and got aboard the chariot, she received a word of caution from the fairy godmother. Remember to be back home at 12, otherwise the spell will wear off. Soon Cinderella arrived at the palace. As she entered the great ballroom, everyone turned to look who this beautiful maiden was. Nobody could recognize her. Not even her own stepmother and stepsisters. Prince Charming walked to her.
May I have this dance with you?
Yes, Your Highness.
And so Cinderella and Prince Charming danced together throughout the evening. Till Cinderella heard the clock strike. Fairy godmother's words came back to her. She needed to get out of there before the clock struck 12. Without saying a word, she tore away from the prince's grasp and ran out of the palace. The prince ran after her. "Wait, wait! What is wrong? Why are you running? I don't even know your name." But Cinderella dared not wait or even look back. Her beautiful gown was already turning into rags again. Her hair was coming loose from the perfect bun that the fairy godmother had made for her. She didn't even stop when one of the glass slippers came off her foot and fell in the palace driveway. She ran out of the palace gates and vanished into the darkness on a path that led to her home. Once home, she went back to polishing the shoes that had been given to her and decided never to speak to anyone about the ball. A few days later, 2 men from the palace showed up at their door.
The lady that Prince Charming fell in love with left behind her glass slipper at the royal ball. The prince believes that such a beautiful slipper could fit only his beloved. And so we're asking all the girls in the village to try the slipper. The one whom it fits would be the one the prince will marry. If you have any girls in the house, please ask them to try the slipper.
Oh, yes, yes. I am sure it was one of my daughters. The slipper would fit one of them. And so both the stepsisters tried to fit their foot into the slipper one by one. They pushed and pushed, but couldn't get their foot in.
Looks like it wasn't your daughters after all. Is there any other young lady in the house?
No, there isn't. You can leave. As the king's men made ready to leave, suddenly the door of the house was thrown open. And Prince Charming himself stood there.
Who is this beautiful girl in the upstairs window? Madam, you have lied to us. I demand that the girl be called forth and try the slipper.
Yes, but she is only a servant girl. Nevertheless, Cinderella, come down here at once.
Yes, stepmother.
The moment Prince Charming saw Cinderella, he knew he had found his beloved. He took the slipper from the king's man and slipped it onto her foot himself. The slipper fit perfectly in a moment. Cinderella was once again transformed into the beautiful maiden from the night of the ball. Prince Charming took her to the palace with him.
He ordered that the stepmother and stepsisters be punished for lying to the king's men and treating Cinderella so badly and rudely.
But being the kind-hearted person that she was, Cinderella asked for them to be forgiven. The prince fell in love with her even more for her generosity, and they lived happily ever after.
Wow, Tia, how wonderful is it to forgive people. Thank you for telling me this story.
I will tell it to John too. I'm sure he will like it. Okay, shall we go home now? I think it's getting late. For your favorite rhymes, stories, and more, join Kids Heart family. Subscribe here.